Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We'll cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a hell of a show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, as you guys know, the Olympics are underway, and we've been covering the USA men's basketball team. Who have been victorious in their first two outings. Their last game that they won was against South Sudan, and they're still on their quest to win the Olympic gold. And with that, everyone is talking about their chances, how they think they're going to do, etc., etc. And one of the shows that has been talking about Team USA's chances, going into the tournament and the tournament, has been undisputed with Skip Bayless, Keyshawn Johnson, and Paul Pierce. They all believe, and I think the vast majority of us believe, that the U.S. are favored to win this thing. Some people feel like it's going to be close, and then you have like the Ric Buchers of the world, and you have other people out there who feel like it's going to be a total blowout. And one of those people is Keyshawn Johnson. Keyshawn Johnson obviously is on Undisputed, and he's had the mindset that, look, he doesn't believe that this thing is going to be close. He doesn't believe that any of these teams stack up to the United States. He understands that there are other teams out there that do have NBA players, but he said when you look at the overwhelming talent with the all NBA caliber players that the USA possesses, he doesn't feel it's going to be a close thing. And he just basically summarily dismisses all of the competition on its face. So yesterday, they were having this debate, and they invited on Ric Bucher, right, who's a basketball guy. Been at ESPN, he's been covering basketball for a long time. And they were basically talking about USA's chances. Now, if you know anything about Ric Bucher, the way he analyzes sports is a very pragmatic approach he takes. He's very analytical. He takes things step by step, which I enjoy, right? Because he breaks it down to the point where basically a person that, if you just barely follow the NBA, if you're a casual watcher, you can understand it at a deep level based on the way he explains things. So they were basically talking about the chances that they give USA moving forward. And Keyshawn was saying, I don't think the competition stands a chance. And as he's talking, you can see Ric Bucher begin to like give him these faces like, bro, okay, I get that you feel that these other competitors, other countries like Germany, France, or whoever else, Canada, doesn't stand a chance against the USA. But could you give me some in-depth analysis? And can you at least acknowledge that the way you're viewing this thing going is based on the way the USA, these players play in the NBA, and is different in the way that they play in FIBA games and the international game. That is a totally different game. And Keyshawn refused to do this. And as Ric Bucher is listening to Keyshawn talk, you can see, and we probably want to show a still of how he was looking. You can see that Ric Bucher is beginning to get a little bit annoyed with Keyshawn's kind of watered down explanation of these Olympic games. So what we want to do now is want to play this exchange for you. I want you guys to listen to it carefully and pay attention to the countenance on Ric Bucher's face as, they're having this back and forth. Take a listen to that there.
Yeah, the ugly American is very spooked right now. I'm very scared. I mean, USA is the
I sense sarcasm.
USA is a threat to themselves. Look, man, there's no team in international play that's going to beat the U.S. It may give you a quarter, and it'd be like, oh, they win a quarter. They may even win 2 quarters. But in the end, I feel they're going to still get boat raced with many of the things that I said earlier. Yeah, Canada has a bunch of NBA players. That is true. Shea probably should have won the MVP. That's probably true. All of those things. Yes, Dylan Brooks can get under LeBron's skin and get 30 put on his head in a heartbeat by doing that. All that's true. I watched them play them opening night in Vegas. I watched it. I saw it with my own eyes. You told me, Skip, that Canada was like, well, we showed them enough, we're done. That's not true. They was out there really playing. Murray has been struggling.
Has he?
Okay, so it's not like all of a sudden he struggled just against the U.S. He's been struggling. In these games, he's just, maybe he needs Joker to play with him. I don't know, but I don't sense any give up, any letdown whatsoever when the Americans take the floor against any of these teams. Man, France just had a squeaker, okay? At first, France was right behind Canada. Now, all of a sudden, I guess the squeaker in Japan, they wind up dropping them down and raising Germany up where Canada is number 2 behind the U.S. to bring home the gold. But it's not number 2 like this, it's number 2 like that. There's a gap that's in between where the U.S. is on the 10th floor and Canada's on the 3rd floor. That's how big of a margin it is. And so I don't see where you get Germany based on having a few players, just a few players that play in the NBA and I'm not talking about superstar players. I know, Rick, you hate when I know it burns you up.
We keep doing that.
The truth
we keep
is
doing it, Keyshawn. We keep equating number of NBA players with how great a team is.
No, not a number of NBA players. The top NBA players. When you got the top NBA players going on one unit, regardless if they played in the games a year ago or the games 5 years ago or they play all summer long together, doesn't matter. These guys are the top of their field because they know what they're doing. That's just, there's no running from it. There's no hiding from it.
But Keyshawn, we've had great international teams that have ended up winning gold. Spain, as an example, that had good NBA players, but they didn't have great NBA players. Argentina, when they won, Manu Ginobili, a great player, but not like, at the time, not one of the greatest NBA players by any stretch. And yet Argentina was able to win gold. So this equating like what a player is in the NBA, and I believe, look, I understand why we think that way, because I think there was more of a comparative value in the past. But the NBA game has really changed so much that players can be great at the game in the NBA, and the international game is just a completely different game. It's like Anthony Edwards last summer in the World Cup. We look at Anthony Edwards, I know, one of your favorite players, tremendously talented player and a great impactful NBA player. But as an international player last year, he wasn't anywhere close to that. And it's because the game is
They're playing this year.
The game is, but no. We're talking about the difference between the two games and how they're played and how we define greatness in them. And you can be great at the international game and not be as great as an NBA in the NBA. And that's why when we just take it and look at it and say, well, the guy has an NBA resume, that defines whether he's going to be great or not. It doesn't necessarily apply to the international game. Dennis Schroeder and Franz Wagner and Mo Wagner and Daniel Tice and the NBA play, it's not because they're NBA players that I think that Germany is a threat. It's because of the way they're able to play the international game collectively I think that they're a threat.
So you heard the back and forth exchange between these two gentlemen. What I want to do, because I'm not going to assume that the audience just knows this, I actually want to read some articles that basically explain the fundamental differences between NBA basketball and then the international game, the Olympics basketball. So I'm going to read from an article called AZ Central. And let me just get into this here. It goes, how are Olympic basketball rules different from the NBA rules? It's a different game. Team USA has 12 players, but the team is competing for gold medal in the 2024 Paris Olympics under international FIBA rules. The three noticeable differences between the NBA and international rules are the 3-second rule, basket interference, and the distance from the three-point line. Here's the breakdown of the differences between the NBA and international rules. Number one, the three-point line. It's 6.75 meters on the 6.60 on the baseline. In FIBA, and compared, it's 7.2 meters and 6.7 meters in the NBA. The 3-second rule. NBA players aren't allowed to stay in the 3-second area if a player is not actively guarding an opponent. In FIBA, players can stay in the lane as long as they want. Another one, basketball interference. In FIBA, players can knock or tip the ball off the rim once the ball hits the rim. That's not allowed in the NBA, which is called basket interference, obviously. Fouls. Players get 5 fouls in the Olympics, 6 in the NBA. Court dimensions, you can see it there. Quarters, 10 minutes for the Olympics, 12 minutes for the NBA. Timeouts, there are 5 timeouts in the Olympics. Yeah, 5 timeouts in the Olympics, 2 in the first half, 3 in the second, and teams can only use 2 timeouts in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Teams have 7 timeouts in the NBA. Traveling. A player can catch the ball in the NBA and take a step before dribbling. In FIBA, unless the player pivots in place, they must put the ball on the floor before taking a step. The player can also take steps and dribble simultaneously. So that's what one article had to say there. There was another one that I want to read from here, which is from, what's this article from? Detroit, freerep.com. I want to get to the point where it talks about what's the difference between FIBA and NBA. Here are the list of the differences. It goes game clock. FIBA has 10-minute quarters. NBA has 12. Shot clock, get this. FIBA is 24 seconds and 14 seconds after an offensive rebound. NBA, 24 seconds. They mentioned the court side, the three-point shooting. Here's another thing. Timeouts. In the NBA, they have that. And then what's the other thing? Jump balls. In FIBA, loser of initial jump ball to start the game gets possession in the next jump ball situation, alternating between every jump ball chance. In the NBA, loser of the initial jump ball to start game gets possession to start the second and fourth quarter. Initial jump ball winner gets the third quarter possession. All jump ball situations are concluded by an actual throw ball by the referee between the two teams, individual fouls and all of that. And I think there was an article where I read where Dwayne Wade, so I want to read from this article here. It's poundingtherock.com, and I want to read this part here. It goes, first-time commentator Dwayne Wade pointed out the difference in fouls. In FIBA, players foul out after 5 fouls, and technical fouls are part of that count. NBA allows for 6 fouls plus technical fouls, and techs are counted separately. You might think that difference would make the NBA more physical, but I noticed that the refs don't call ticky-tack fouls that often aggravate the NBA players. Don't get me wrong, though. The international players still look astounded when they draw a whistle. Apparently, that is consistent at every level of the game. And then, of course, it talks about in all the FIBA rules and all of that. So those are the differences there. I thought that it was important that we shared that because I didn't want to assume that everyone knew the FIBA rules. Why? Because the FIBA games are not played. I mean, the NBA is not playing FIBA games every single year. It's not a regular occurrence, at least to the best of my knowledge. So I just felt that it was good to kind of share that knowledge with you guys. What are my thoughts on this? I think that I think the United States is most likely going to win it all. I would be surprised. Some people out there said they wouldn't. People like basketball, people like Tim Legler said that he wouldn't be surprised if Team USA loses in this competition. Some of the stronger teams, you talk about France, you talk about Canada. Canada is laden with NBA players. But you also got to bear in mind that if they're going to have the same challenges that the NBA guys are going to have adjusting to that international game, maybe some of those Canadian players may have the same. I don't know. I guess we have to wait and see. But thus far, it looks to me that the Team USA is most likely going to go on and win this competition. I guess we just have to wait and see. In terms of the back and forth between Ric Bucher and Keyshawn Johnson, Keyshawn is a football guy, he's an NFL guy. So I don't really expect great analysis from him when it comes to basketball, but it was just kind of funny to see Ric Bucher kind of looking at him like, bro, like there's more to it than what you're trying to make it seem. So these are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think about today's analysis, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.